All right, we are back for round 4 of the OP Cup, coming to you from the Columbus, Ohio Convention Center. We've got a great match lined up for you. This round 4 is going to be Josh Alexander. You're going to see him on the left side of your screen against John Lewis on the right side of your screen. With me is, I think for the whole day, is going to be Phil the King Keffer. How you doing, Phil?
Great, Joe. I'm great. I'm loving this.
Yeah, how have the
I'm,
matches
s-
been
I'm,
so
s-
far? We've been seeing some good ones.
yeah, it's been really good. Every single one of the matches has been solid so far. I strongly advise anybody that's watching to watch all the games from this tournament. We've got a lot of good action to cover, and now we have Juggernaut on Juggernaut, as we've been
Yes.
talking about. Juggernaut's been very popular.
Yeah, it's
Um,
great. It's great to see a character that was like pretty much considered unplayable before, and now he's in a huge amount of the meta. So it just goes to show you that the game's getting back to a healthy place. So John Lewis is generally considered to be one of, if not the best Heroes for Hire player overall. He's played him the most. He's won a decent amount of tournaments with him. So John, I think, is returning to form and going back to a Heroes for Hire build. There's a little glare, but that's Beast the Brood in the center of John's team on the right. They rolled the dice. Josh Alexander on the left got a 12, so he'll be going first. But this should be a good match. Both of these guys have a really good record. They're both on a path right now to make the top 8. Josh Alexander is undefeated. I believe John Lewis is undefeated too. I think they are both 3-0 right now.
I think they probably are, yeah. And
Mhm.
I think it's interesting to see that John's playing any hero because the lineup of characters is the same as the one that I played at the last event, but he's going with the 4 stat Spider Woman since he's playing Team Overpower instead of like an armory. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think it's a great call by him for this event because I was expecting there to be a lot of battle sites here and not that much any hero, and we saw a lot of battle sites at the top table. So he might have a good day. I guess we'll just have to watch and see what he can do.
Interestingly enough, he's not playing Shattered Image, which one of the big bombs when you play any heroes is playing the no activators event. But John is choosing to play Might Over Mind, which usually is an anti-teamwork strategy. Now he does have characters that have a primary strength grid, with only a little bit of a fighting backup grid, but we may see that he's focusing mostly on low teamworks, no teamworks, or just some strength teamworks that get through one of the 3 teamwork lockouts. So it'll be interesting to see what John's doing as a strategy that's been going this well for him, that he's not playing the one that's almost always played. So John's being aggressive right off the bat. Josh bets 1. John goes 3. Josh draws the card, and it looks like he kept it. So
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot of the strength decks play Might Over Mind, and statistically from last year, it looked like Might Over Mind did very well. So I agree with you. If I was playing any hero, I'd usually play no activators, but I can see why John might have tried to go the other direction.
Josh makes a really interesting first play. He throws the spider. He throws the Iceman 6 fighting. We saw this in round 3. If it would have hit Heroes for Hire, he wouldn't have been able to play any specials, but he blocks it with a 6. I would have thought he would have tried to discard a placed card instead. But so then John tries to put out his Stars and Garters. We talked about that last game. What a great card. Josh negates it and then concedes. So Josh basically evens out the placed cards that the two players have. Lets John put his 3 in the victory up to the top, and then he runs away. Josh has got 2 cards placed, both of those cards that affect universe cards. Oh, that's painful.
So he's got a lot of his Juggernaut cards. And yeah, like I noticed that as well. That's why John was able to venture so much in the first hand was because Josh had cards that weren't really going to do anything,
So this is going
even
to
though
be
they weren't duped.
interesting for both. So there's an event. The first event, no any heroes can be played. Well, so John Lewis had 3 dupes. Oh, but he also has to get rid of his power leech. So Grim Reaper, our version of it. So John has to get rid of 4 cards, and he cannot play the Cataclysm, which is his best any hero, to avoid an attack and lock a character out. Josh
Wow,
gets rid of a headbutt. It looks like he only drops 1 card.
that's a massive event from Josh. Getting that power leech is huge.
Josh is putting down two teamworks in a row, then an 8 card. John said he's done placing. He at least loses out on the clobbering time, but he's able to place two teamwork cards, an 8 power card, and a 7 headbutt. He's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards to John's 7. So John bets one. Josh is doing the math in his head. I'm
It's a
sure
lot of
John
cards
Lewis is
played.
just intimidated by that gigantic ring on his finger that he's flashing around.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous, gorgeous ring Josh has there. Pretty impressive winning his own tournament. It's hard to do. It's hard to do when you have to run the tournament and
It's
play in it.
very hard. I don't even try to play a competitive deck in Boston. I build something goofy every time because after the first year I was like, I can't pay attention. I just have to have fun. So John Lewis bets one. Josh hits him back with the three, which is going to put him in the same position. John Lewis drew one card. It was also a duplicate. I couldn't see what it was, but John just has to accept the being in the same venture position. They are both going to be three in the middle, three in the top, and one in the bottom. So they're both tied, but Josh has a big placing advantage at this point.
I feel like Josh always seems to have that 10 sitting back there on thing.
Well,
I
that's
know he
why
can't play it right now, but it's intimidating.
he's been a big proponent of playing Fairchild in the past, and he'll place that 10 on the home base. So it's always a threat off her three play a teammate special. That's a lot of times one of Josh's favorite strategies with a strength deck. So he's switching it up this tournament and trying something different. But yeah, I think there's something to be said for playing characters that don't have the defense in the back. I did a build this tournament with Kingpin, who can do a little bit of the speed bumps, but I was running the event to bring him to the front line, and I won several games because he just came up. I had a 9 and a draw 3. I would just stack him and then get that event, and it was just devastating sometimes. But it's hard to not take that defense from the reserve slot.
Yeah, it takes a certain kind of deck. For sure, having one of those universe battle sites or home bases helps a lot. But
Yep.
yeah, it would be hard to justify more than one card for the reserve that's not normally playable without playing the event.
Yep.
Like
And
you'd have to have the
that's the only reason I did it was the event. So Josh bets three. John draws it. Looks like he gets to keep it this time. He's only going one, but we'll see if there's actually going to be a fight here, or if John's going to just try to rebuild this massive placing advantage he has. He plays, and Josh gets the spontaneous combustion. He's playing
monster.
multiple copies of that off that. So John has to use his negate off beast. Like he can't give up that ability to lock out a character. That's that with this deck. That's premier defense. So John's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
fire
where.
back, reaching for an ally card.
All right, well, maybe we can land a couple of hits here and start to make things complicated.
Yeah. So John's gonna go for the Juggernaut. Or no, John's gonna go for Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch.
Yep. I don't know. I mean, Scarlet Witch already had a numerous of her cards out of the deck, so I'm not sure about this decision. What do you
Yeah,
think, Joe?
I think maybe what he's doing, sometimes I'll do this with allies. I'll poke somebody that has a multi-power like that with an off-color low hit, because a lot of times they'll block with that multi, and then maybe I can pressure him to use other teamwork follow-ups for defense. Um, so Josh is going to go for the full avoid to avoid that one. So I think Josh is in a position, exactly what I was thinking. He needs that 4 to fuel one of those teamworks, and John was hoping he'd use the 4 to block it to use it up. That means that gives John Lewis a lot of good information about how to pressure him.
Yeah, using a full avoid on a one definitely tells your opponent that I don't have a lot of defense.
And it tells you that he needed that 4 for something else, which means now if he throws the JW, so he lets the
Yeah,
JW, he's going to use the 4 to block that.
yeah. I mean,
Maybe
Josh isn't playing all these teamworks anyway this round, but
Well, he had them all lined up with the placed power cards, but yeah, it's pretty hard to do that. Okay, so he's going to do that just to go 1 for 1 and get rid of the ally. I like that play. A lot of people try to sit on the Cyclops card until it is just perfectly going to get more. But if you can get 1 for 1, I fire it off when I can,
Yeah,
especially
I
with
find
the
it interesting here. I'm thinking like what you said is right. Like one, for sure, he needed that power card for a teamwork, and two, like firing off that when you probably are going to run. Like I'm guessing that Josh. How much did Josh venture? Because it seems like Josh might not want to play this whole battle
Josh
and
did
just get a
go
huge
3,
placing advantage. He did. Okay. Maybe he's
but
just not too worried about it. I mean, I guess he could lose a character. He's got Thing coming up with a big hit. Wouldn't be the end of the world.
he's definitely using all his big team defense. So maybe what he's doing is just he is running John out of cards. John's throwing the 6.
Monster.
It is a monster. Oh, he did have the negate. I was like, he may have gotten Josh to a point where it sneaks through. Yeah, I think you're going to see Josh just play cards from hand as much as possible. Now, that doesn't count to venture, but man, does it sting.
Yeah, wow. I mean, clearly Josh has like way more venture than John in this situation, but John is going to kill somebody if he wants to. I think Josh is trying to like bait that fairy protection.
Yeah. Oh, he's got the only
Okay.
universe. So
That's a good
that's,
combo.
yeah, he knew he was going to get rid of anything placed that was a universe card, lock him out. Yeah.
Hmm. Man, it's just scary looking at how many place cards Josh has right now.
And that's probably a lot of what this deck was built on for Josh is just generating that card advantage. Josh uses the headbutt, forces John Lewis to use the 9 or less avoid. I think John's just got one card in his hand, and it's just such a tough position because John doesn't even really want to run here. He doesn't get much out of running because he's so far behind. He needs to try to force Josh to use placed cards or at least put his guys at a place where there's KO pressure. But Josh has got these teamworks. He can just fire them off. Oh, John had the confusion. I must be wrong about how many cards in his hand because he's definitely still holding cards. But Josh is considering, does he want to use the 8 to block a 4 multi since the 8 is the teamwork follow up? I wish I
He
could see
definitely doesn't
exact.
want to, but should he? I don't know. Oof, that's tough. Wow.
All right, so maybe Josh is just not going to throw the teamwork. He's just going to use the 8 for defense. Hope John can't get over the top with his cards. I think John now I'm thinking John has 2 cards in his hand. I can't tell. But he
It seems
fires
like
the
a big
6.
gamble. Like if John has a big attack right now, he could totally kill
Yeah, he'll
Juggernaut,
kill
right?
Juggernaut. He'll lock out both of those teamworks. Josh is
Yeah,
out of cards
wow.
in hand. Like
It's
he could just have the Heroes for Hire 11. You
right.
have the
Yeah.
Juggernaut 11, like either one of the
Or
11s.
the 9 from Beast. I mean, there's a lot of options. It's really scary. I think we would have seen it already if it was there.
Oh, Josh had a card in his hand still too. Okay, so Josh.
Okay.
Oh, I see what he's doing. Well, John could fairy protection this. Oh, he's got the avoid. So actually, if we do the math here, I think John. Well, he's got the teamwork, so that's a little tough. So John, right now, Josh can throw a teamwork, an 8, and a 7. John can fairy protection the 8, keep heroes for hire alive. Oh, he chooses to run. I think that might have been a mistake. I think John needed to make him use all 3 of those cards and leave him with just one place teamwork, and I think he could have won the venture there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I would have to look at it a little closer, but thinking that Josh is going to have that kind of a placing advantage and and have his missions move up seems like a real big problem for John.
Josh's own event dings him. So Josh got discard all teamworks, no teamworks, and that took away two of his place teamworks. Still leaves him with two power cards, but that's if anything's gonna get John Lewis back in this game, it was that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even in the worst case scenario, I don't think Josh can. There's no or sequence of three cards where John Lewis can't defend. I guess he could throw the 7, and then Josh could throw the teamwork next, and that would be for the kill. So, but even if he throws the 7 first and Josh does it correctly, John Lewis still would have tied the venture, and it would have been a push, and he would have got rid of both of those power cards and a teamwork. So I think that's a situation where John should have stayed in, taken a little damage, and neutralized Josh's placing advantage. Josh did dupe out on 2 of the 8s though, so that half of it, it really is only the 7 that ended up mattering.
Yeah, let's see if John can make up some of this placing disadvantage because that's what he's going to need to fight back into this game. I mean, having the fairy protection is always like a warm blanket kind of thing,
Yeah.
but
Now
but
we
still,
haven't
yeah.
seen we've seen Josh's big 11. We haven't seen the remove visor that's sneaky and can snake through, but I don't feel like we've seen any of John's big attacks, either 11 or the 9. We did see John's stars and garters get negated, but John's definitely got some big heat. So Josh goes for the win. Looks like he goes 2. John bets 2, the obligatory 2, and Josh opens with an ally card.
Hmm,
John Lewis blocks with a 5 fighting. And then what are we going to get here? Raise. So we'll see if
probably
John
nothing.
Lewis. Oh, it gets an
Oh, he
ally
gets
card.
one. Oh, yeah, that was fortunate for John. Though I don't think it really mattered. I think he had so many cards up on John. He's winning this one.
Throwing a 1 intellect. Josh has got a few cards in hand and an 8. Josh does not want to have to use this 8, so he's got to hope he has something else. Josh is always a good one for some fun banter back and forth when you do things. So I'm sure he's given John a funny comment about having to block that up so much. So John has to use the 6. The 7's placed to Cyclops. He has to use the 6, and John nets 5 venture off that 1. Now he's throwing the 7 over here. John can block that with the 8. He's only down 1 venture. But the other question is, okay, so he takes it. He throws the 8 at Scarlet Witch.
So do you think this is a situation where Heroes is just going to die?
I would imagine he's I think trying to maximize the venture. I think he's going to just save that fairy protection for the 8. Um, he knows he can stack that headbutt onto Scarlet Witch, and Josh doesn't seem to be able to block it now, and it's not for the kill. Oh, he's gonna go for there and make him use the 8. Scarlet Witch negates it. He's gonna
Scarlet Witch
block.
cards a lot
He's
of
got a
Scarlet Witch
fairy
cards.
protection. Josh still has a card in hand. He had his raise, and there's the handshake. So Josh loses the first round. John Lewis goes up 3 on the first play, and then 1, 2, 3. Josh just bets right back into it, and man, I think that brings Josh to 4-0.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah, the wow, that is
Cyclops.
yeah, Cyclops, Scarlet Witch, Juggernaut just getting it done, and we're seeing Josh just being able to generate a ton of offensive pressure. I think what's interesting too is, Josh clearly is playing the Spartan training ground to get those defensive training cards, and we've only seen him use one of them over 2 matches. His decks, just the danger room alone is keeping his guys alive.
I mean, people might just be intimidated by that ring, Joe. I don't know.
I think it's that light's reflecting off the ring. It's getting in their eyes, and then they're not making optimal choices. It's tough, you know. You see that ring, you know he's a champion. So Um, now Josh is
All
a
right.
fantastic player. Obviously, winning any one of these events is not easy, and I know Greg and I both talk a lot. Josh for a long time was one of the guys I just never beat when I got paired up with him. Uh, and I feel like my first big win against him was getting second place in Oklahoma. I was able to do a lockout and knock him out of the first round of the playoffs. But Greg now says the same thing. Every time he gets paired up against Josh, Greg Costa is like, he's my nemesis. I never win. They had a great game this tournament that was off camera that I watched that just came. It's one of the ones that came down to like one venture. Or though no, they tied in the last hand, both venturing for whoever was going to win. So the missions got reset, and then someone won. Josh won on the tiebreaker. So
Hmm.
yeah, so
Wow.
it was very, very close. But that's round 4, guys. You guys can click right to the next video and watch round 5. We're gonna take a quick lunch break, but we are doing this after the event, so you don't have to wait at all. Just click right on the next event. And thanks very much for watching. Had some great games so far, and I know from being at the event, there's some pretty awesome games to come too. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks very much, Phil.